Hi guys, if you're thinking about getting an iPad for school, I hope this video helps you decide if getting an iPad is right for you. I treat my iPad like a notebook. If you're debating between a laptop and an iPad, think about what you need to do from a laptop. If all you're expecting from your laptop is being able to type in class, you could achieve the same effect with an iPad and external keyboard. Consider what school you're at or what school you're going to. If there are many computer labs available to you, or you plan to spend most of your time doing computer work in your room anyway, you don't need to carry around a laptop. Carrying a laptop would just be extra weight in your bag. I'm using an iPad 3rd generation with a smart cover, and for a back cover, I'm using Devicewear's Union, and it has a magnet here on the back. I like having everything magnetized. You can see my Stylus, which is the Maglus by Applydea, has magnets on the front and back, and the ends are kind of flat. It sticks to my smart cover, and as you can see, it's a pretty strong magnet. It never falls off, even in my bag. If something rubs against it and it ends up slipping down, it sticks to the other end anyway. So in my bag, I never lose it at the bottom. Another cool feature of these magnets are the smart cover. On a normal iPad, you'll see that this back part will flap around, but because this case has a magnet, you'll see it will snap into place. And again, it's a pretty strong magnet. Now, take for instance, you're walking around with your iPad and you're writing on it, and now you want to put your stylus down. All you have to do is move your stylus to the back. And you could hear it has snapped in there. And again, it's a really strong magnet and it won't fall off even if you shake it. Let's get started by opening the app that I use for note-taking, Notability. I'm going to start off by opening a new note and very briefly going over the tools that I use. This is the pen tool. Now, I like to write while zooming in. I find that it makes my notes neater and easier to read. Now, recently Notability has added in a palm rejection. And you'll notice it got rid of most of the palm marks. I was able to write well. A couple marks here and there, I'm just going to erase that. And I wouldn't take notes using the palm rejection just like this because I wouldn't be able to fit a lot of words in. It wouldn't be as neat as I like it to. But for quickly jotting down some ideas, this might work really well for you. Next, we're just going to look. You can see that the pens have different colors and the highlighters also have many different colors and sizes. And you'll see that come really handy when you're taking notes and organizing and studying. The eraser tool erases very quickly. And then this is the select tool. Now, I really like the select tool. It's one of my favorites because you can select something, move it, shrink it, expand it, or rotate it. And it's really good for organizing your notes. If you start writing something, now you want to drag it off to the side or make it smaller so you could fit it somewhere. There's also the pasting tool. You can see I copied this from a different note. And you can just paste it over and over again, go in, write. And I just like Notability because it gives you a lot of freedom to organize and move around your notes. And finally, we have the finger tool, which lets you scroll through your notes while you're studying without affecting your notes. Now, when considering using Notability for class, you need to think about the subjects you plan to use it in. This is a note that I used for organic chemistry. And you can see organic chemistry is more about writing and drawing compounds, chemical equations. This is a list that I made out of other notes just to keep track of everything. And while you're studying, you can use the highlighter tool, highlight important things, study them, come back to it, erase it. For classes where you need to draw molecules or write compounds, I would recommend an iPad because you can't type for these classes. Also, practice makes perfect, so if you like writing repeatedly with the iPad and you don't want to have to worry about getting scrap paper or having piles of papers everywhere, an iPad might be really helpful for you. Here's a file that I made. I called it Mechanism Practice, and I wrote a small outline of things that I would have to answer. Then I made a copy of the file and tried to complete it. So here's Mechanism Practice copy. It's the same file in blue. I've tried to answer it, and then I went back, checked it over, and in red I corrected myself. I put a star next to things that I got wrong, and then I made another copy of the original and practiced it again, this time filling in things that I got wrong to make sure that I knew them. So if you're the type of person who likes to do work over and over again to make sure that you know it, you can repeat this process until you're confident that you know it. If you're taking a lot of classes that involve writing, so in English class, you're not going to write as quickly on an iPad as you would with pen, pencil, and paper. And you can't scribble on the iPad. When you scribble on the iPad, your legibility gets affected. It might be harder for you to look back and study them or read what you wrote. But I would say that in classes of high school level and below, you will be able to keep up with the rest of the class just fine. I found that in college, which has faster paced classes, I struggled a little bit to keep up. However, if you're in a class like this where you're mostly typing and you're going to be able to use a keyboard, you may want to invest in an external keyboard. I don't have an external keyboard right now, but there were a couple classes in the last semester where I needed to type, and I had to carry around my laptop in order to type in those classes, and it got cumbersome because I needed to carry my laptop for a class that lasted around an hour, and then it was just extra weight for the rest of the day. If you're taking a math course, so let's open up this one. In a math course, you're going to need to draw a lot of graphs, functions, equations, and it takes some getting used to, but you can draw graphs on your iPad. And you can see here, well, my friend did a little doodle there. It's pretty neat for math. I have a color coding system where I would write the problem that my teacher provides in black. I did my work in blue, and then I corrected myself in red. I wrote important functions or important formulas in red too. Here's another file for math. Again, you can see I did problems in black, my work in blue, I have formulas in red. It's just a really nice and easy way to organize it. And if in class you don't have the time to switch between colors, later when you're looking through your notes, just use the select tool, pick out certain parts, hit style, and then you can change the color to whatever you want. So when you're going back and you're looking through your notes, it's really easy with the select tool to select things, drag it around, and color it. And also highlight things that you want to remember to take a look at. Now, you should always ask your professor for permission before you do this, but you can also do your worksheets and homework using the iPad. I took a picture with Genius Scan, and then with Genius Scan, I made it black and white so it looks like it was scanned, saved it as a PDF on Dropbox or Google Drive, then opened it on Notability, and then on Notability, I filled in my answers with blue. I emailed my teacher this file as a PDF to his school email, and then in class, I used a red pen and I made corrections. So you can see I have a couple corrections here or there. Make sure you check with your teacher before you do this. Maybe your teacher wants to have a hard copy of the worksheet, in which case you should print it out for him or her. You can also use your iPad to replace carrying around paper that you've annotated on or study guides. For example, here's a poem by Lee Young Lee. I made this by copy and pasting the poem from a website into a Word document with my computer. Then I saved it as either a document or a PDF on Google Drive or Dropbox, and I opened it on Notability. From Notability, I annotated it, underlined it, highlighted it, jotted down some ideas on the side, and then I kept this with me while I was writing my essay so I can see my annotations. Another good example is this file, which was for systems physiology. I typed this on a computer lab in my college. I took screenshots of the figures from the textbook, and I included in my notes that I had typed in class. Then, instead of printing this out and carrying this around, I was able to keep the file on my iPad. From here, I studied. Now, this was just from one lecture, and it's about 20 pages. So imagine having 10 lectures worth of notes that you're carrying around to study. Instead of carrying around 200 pages worth of notes, you can keep everything on your iPad and read it and study it off there, highlight it, underline it, and you'll be able to change it however you need. That's it for the notes that I wanted to show you. I hope this gave you some good ideas on some of the ways you can use your iPad for school. If you have any questions, comment them below and I'll be happy to answer. If you have any suggestions for me, like different apps or styli for me to try, let me know and I'll be happy to give them a shot. Thanks for watching.